Stop. Sherry.
Host, and let's talk a little bit about what we're getting into today after a kind of a rough night yet again of weather in our area. We have beautiful weather today, at least for now, although we're getting up there in terms of the temperature, and of course that means also the humidity. But just look at it. I mean, last night things were going down fast. Our meteorologists had to get on the air. We know that a lot of people actually sustained damage from last night's storm. But today, much different picture as you see all those folks out there at the bean just soaking up all this sun that we have today. And we hope that it sticks around, but you know, things will change. So we'll get one of our meteorologists up here to give us the details a little bit later on in the show. But just in this first hour that we have here together, actually, we are going to talk a lot more about weather throughout our time here, because things have been pretty active. That's probably the best word over the last few weeks. Very active. And so during this hour, our friend, our colleague, Robert Ray from Fox Weather, who's all over the country. I mean, sometimes we're talking to him in Colorado for snow, and the next thing we know, he's in Florida for flooding or for fires. And the last time we talked to him, I believe he was some other part of the country, Missouri, for the anniversary of a major tornado that went through a particular community there. And today, he's here in Chicago talking about tornadoes here. We've become a focus area for tornadoes. We are leading the nation in tornadoes, and I think that's really mind-boggling for a lot of people that Tornado Alley seems to be shifting. And so he's going to be up here talking about that. Obviously, we'll get into that conversation a little bit deeper with him because he gets more context as to what's happening throughout the country. We're also going to talk about Fox Valley's biggest swim lesson. I know it sounds a little odd, but there is a focus on a serious note there, and there should be a focus on making sure more people know how to swim. And not just that we all know how to swim, but that we know the dangers and have a respect for the water. A lot of times when you don't live near the ocean, you tend to think that whether it's the Des Plaines River or Lake Michigan, that if you're hopping in, things will go just fine. And yet, time and time again, and we've just had it this week, and that's why it is very a solemn note this week. We just had a teenager who died in Lake Michigan this week. We see that time and time again. We don't want to report those deaths that come about in that way. So Fox Valley is trying to get as many people together as possible to teach, to educate more people out there, and we'll get into that discussion with them around 1:45. Robert Ray should be around 1:30. We know that at some point in time in this hour, we may be hearing from Governor Pritzker. He's moving about the state, and today he's supposed to be signing an order about consumer protection. That should be happening somewhere in the latter portion of this hour. There is a bill signing press conference for a package of consumer protection measures. He says will lower costs for working families, so we definitely want to hear the details of that, because a lot of people are feeling the squeeze right now. Speaking of feeling the squeeze, we have workers who are on strike right now. We're going to be hearing from the project manager for IUOE Local 399. That should be in just a short while here that we will hear from them. Workers from Prime Healthcare Hospitals in Illinois that are going on strike on July 2nd. And this is their union alleging that Prime has interfered with their right to organize and bargain collectively. And so obviously, I mean, they've taken that vote to go on strike July 2nd. Could things change between now and then? We shall see. But we're going to talk to them today about some of the issues that they have with Prime hospitals. We are starting this hour, though, talking about the earthquake that has rocked a portion of the world, Venezuela. Not just an earthquake, but of course the aftershocks that can be deadly as well. At this point in time, we know 164 people have died. almost 1,000 others injured after the massive tremor, and again, the quakes, the tremors that come after that. And so we have Esteban Chavez, who is a seismologist at the National University of Costa Rica and the director of the country's seismological observatory, who is joining me now. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for this time and for this space to talk about earthquakes and the sad news about the earthquakes in Venezuela.
Super sad news. And is this an area that is prone to have earthquakes, strong tremors at that?
Actually, that's a really good question. We have strong earthquakes or shakes in the past. For instance, at least 2 earthquakes hit Venezuela in 1812 with magnitudes between 6.9 and 7.2. And then in the 1900s, we have a magnitude 7.7 earthquake that also created a lot of damages.
Wow.
and causalities because of it. In 1976, we had another magnitude 6.6 earthquake, and so on and so forth. So this fault system is quite active and is responsible for generating a sequence of events, really important and big earthquakes in the past. So in terms of the seismological history, it is not new that this fault has the potential to generate earthquakes and damaging, the cities and creating all of these fatalities that we are seeing right now.
Wow. And what types of things have been done to better protect people when these types of events happen in the area? I mean, 164 people dead, just it's heartbreaking.
It is. I mean, one of the things that is causing these fatalities that we're seeing is basically the depth of the earthquake and the amount of stress that is released by the occurrence of the earthquake. The first event that happened with a magnitude 7.2 occurred at 21 or 22 kilometers depth, triggering a second earthquake 40 seconds after. And the second event occurred at just 10 kilometers depth. This second earthquake with a magnitude 7.5 is 4 times larger in energy release than the first one and occurred at a shallow depth. And so the amount of stress release in a very short time and at a very shallow depth is causing all the catastrophes and damages that we're seeing in the news right now. Right now, the country is, even though they have scientists and they have seismologists and engineers, I think the building code is not strict, it's not mandatory. And this is one of the main reasons why we're seeing this kind of failures in the buildings.
Yeah, that's immediately what I think about when you hear about these types of numbers. And in fact, we just started to get some live pictures of the aftermath. I mean, the work that will need to go on for quite some time. Tell me what's going through your mind as you see a sign, a picture like this of that much rubble where a building used to be.
Well, this is really hard to see, right? I mean, if we think about all the families that are, in pain right now, that are suffering from the earthquake, that are shocked by the occurrence of the earthquake, it is very painful to see. One of the things that we need to consider as a scientist, and in general for politicians especially, is that we need to get closer to scientists that are studying these processes 24/7. And start creating the implementation or the plans that are necessary to enforce building codes. In Latin America, this is absolutely necessary because Latin America is prone to host large earthquakes very frequently, actually. In Costa Rica, for instance, we have large earthquakes every 50 or 40 years, and we have a really good understanding of all of these earthquakes through Latin America. So it is time to enforce building codes, and it is time to enforce people respecting these building codes in order to save lives in the future. But this is definitely shocking, and it is part of history, it is part of the humanity, and we need to build from the knowledge of earthquakes.
I'm seeing that Qatar, El Salvador, Chile, and several other countries have offered to help. What do you think the prolonged recovery and cleanup effort will be like for a nation like Venezuela?
Especially during this political situation that we all know about, is gonna be hard, and I presumably will be months for cleanup and rebuild all the damage from all the damages that just happened. Um, and I hope that all the nations in Latin America can get together right now to provide some help, especially during these difficult times that Venezuela is going through right now. So yeah, it's gonna be difficult. It's probably gonna take months to rebuild and to reconstruct all these buildings that collapsed during the earthquakes.
Would they be in the clear at this point in time for more tremors from this event, or could we expect that they'll still be rocked?
Absolutely, you're basically pointing into the right direction. Now they can expect aftershocks. The aftershocks are the remnant stress regions that didn't break during the main shocks. And for a magnitude 7.5 earthquake, we can expect at least 10 magnitude 6 earthquakes or 100 magnitude 5 earthquakes, and so on and so forth. It's a logarithmic scale. So we expect aftershocks after this main event, and Venezuelans are they have to be prepared for the shocks. Usually when the buildings don't collapse by the occurrence of a large event, they do collapse or fracture during the occurrence of the aftershocks. So this is nature, is the way it is the way it happens, and as a community, we need to be prepared for that.
Well, how often do we even see 7 point anything magnitude earthquakes these days?
All right. Globally, there is a magnitude 7. There is at least 2 magnitude 7s every year.
Huh.
And so magnitude 6 earthquakes are more frequent, but magnitude 7 earthquakes are at least 2 per year. So it is very frequent. Nonetheless, it is very painful when they happen. Sometimes they occur in regions that are not populated, and sometimes they occur in regions that are densely populated, like Caracas in Venezuela, the northern section of Venezuela, one of the most populated regions in the planet, one of the most convulsive cities in the planet right now. Yes, so that's what happens when an earthquake or a fault decides to rupture in the middle of a city.
Wow, very interesting. And I mean, what are the things? And that's from someone who is an outsider to the details. You study this, and for those of you all who are in the mix of this on a regular basis, what are the things that still perplex you about earthquakes?
The way they rupture. Sometimes earthquake migrate. When they rupture, when the rock is stuck, we say it's coupled. And when it is decoupled, when the rupture is going on, we don't know the way they're going to move, right? They can move in both directions along the fault, or they can move towards one single direction along the fault. In this particular case in Venezuela, the rupture decided to move towards Caracas. So this is why we are seeing all of this damage in Caracas, because the rupture direction was pointing towards Caracas. So the way that faults evolve, or the ruptures evolve, generating 1 or 2 earthquakes, or the way that earthquakes communicate in time, this is a particular case, very unusual. We're not used to see earthquake communication in such a short time period. Just 40 seconds after the main event, we had a larger earthquake hitting Venezuela. This is very recent, this is very new, and definitely we need more time to study, to pick apart the waveforms and try to understand what happened.
Wow. Well, thank you for doing the research, and hopefully it eventually saves more lives. The more we know, the more it can help us all. Thank you so much for your time today. It is truly heartbreaking to look not just at the numbers, but those live pictures, as you said, when we're seeing so many people in the midst, trying to help however they can, but knowing the Herculean task that's ahead of them.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this space and all the best for our
Mm-hmm.
friends in Venezuela.
Absolutely. Thank you. Everyone, it's 1:15 right now. Let's take 2 minutes before we get into our next discussion about workers that have voted to strike here in the state of Illinois, healthcare workers at that. Welcome back, everyone. 1:18 right now, and we're bringing in a project manager from IUOE Local 399 as healthcare workers have voted to strike starting July 2nd here in our area as a result of 6 prime healthcare hospitals in Illinois, they believe, not meeting their rights to organize and bargain collectively. I want to go ahead and bring in Mia Karinke. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. It's great to be
Mia,
with
I
you. We
think,
appreciate you taking the
let me
time.
see. Okay, can we hear her? Okay, all right, I can hear you okay now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get into this. I mean, where did this the rift, if you will, begin? Where did it originate?
Yeah, absolutely. So these workers have been running the facilities at these 6 hospitals in and around Chicago for decades. We've had collective bargaining agreements, so union contracts in place for decades at these hospitals. And about a year and a half ago, Prime Healthcare purchased these properties from Ascension and refused to honor the existing union contracts. And that's really kind of where the problem started. We have workers who are asked to basically apply for their jobs over again. Some of these guys have been here for 30, 40 years. And so their seniority and other protections on the job were basically wiped out.
And about how many workers are we talking about?
Yep. So we're looking at 50 workers, give or take a little bit, just over 50 workers at 6 hospitals across Chicagoland.
If you've been working on a job that long and you find yourself in this type of position, I mean, what types of frustration, quite frankly, are they feeling right now?
Yeah, the workers are definitely frustrated. We've been in negotiations since these hospitals were acquired by Prime in March of 2025. So it's been over a year. Workers are frustrated that they haven't received a raise to keep up with the cost of living in that time. They're frustrated that their seniority, which ties to their vacation time, was wiped out. We have workers who were not able to take a honeymoon, were not able to spend as much time as they had anticipated with new children who were born during this kind of waiting period because all the seniority that they had banked and the time off that they had accrued is gone. So workers are very frustrated.
And I know we reached out for a statement from Prime Healthcare, and we have not received one back yet. But what have things been like, at the very least to this point, in trying to communicate with them about how the workers are feeling and what they want?
Yeah, so I will say we have been in constant communication with the employer. We are continuing to bargain, and Local 399 is committed to getting a fair contract that pays these workers what they deserve and reinstates some of those protections that were stripped during the acquisition. We are in constant communication with management, but we don't believe that the proposals that they have presented represent good faith bargaining. They're not meeting the standard that we've demonstrated to them that these workers need in order to be able to support their families.
So, is there a possibility then that this could get worked out before July 2nd and the strike then would not be necessary?
Yes, there is definitely, an opportunity for Prime to do the right thing here, for them to, continue bargaining and come back to the table with good faith proposals. In that situation, our members would not have to go on strike. They would not be, out picketing. We would be able to avert a strike. But at this point, our membership and our union is ready to go on strike if we need to take that measure.
Are they concerned that, if we see like FAA workers who go on strike, and there are tens of thousands of them, obviously the numbers elevate the voice. Are they concerned at all that because there are right around 50, that maybe Prime Healthcare won't take that type of push seriously?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So it is a small number of workers, right? We're talking about anywhere from 5 to 10 employees at each hospital. But it's important the kind of work that these members do. These are licensed by the city of Chicago. They're certified to operate building systems in hospitals. We're talking about skilled maintenance workers. We're talking about building engineers. These folks are absolutely critical to the safe and effective operation of the hospitals. The hospitals cannot run without them. And so we do believe that Prime is taking the strike seriously. Like I said, we've been in negotiations, and we have communicated to them the severity of the situation. We believe that they're taking it seriously. During that, notice, we've given our 10-day notice. It is on the employer to come up with an emergency staffing plan. So that's kind of where we're leaving things. But even though it's a small number of employees, they really are central to the functioning of the hospitals themselves.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And should the strike end up happening, I mean, how do you advise these workers in terms of if you are concerned about your benefits, your pay, and you're getting ready to go on strike, and you don't know how long the strike could last, how do you advise them to prepare for something like that?
Yeah, so this is a really scary situation, to be, perfectly honest. I am also a union member. I'm also a member of the Operating Engineers, Local 399, and not in this job, but previously when I was a union member at a different union, I was facing a strike, right? We had authorized a strike, and it's not a fun situation to be in. We understand that these workers are concerned for their families, for their livelihoods. There are federal labor protections to protect them when they take this activity, which is going on strike. And our union is there for them as well. So we know that a strike is not something that any worker, it's not a step any worker ever wants to take, but it is a necessary step when the employer doesn't give you another option. So we're working really closely with our members, making sure they understand, what kind of, benefits are available to them, what it looks like to go on strike, how they should be prepared for picket duty, all of those logistics, so that we can support them and their families if this strike does come to a head.
Well, please keep us updated. Again, we did reach out to Prime Healthcare, haven't received a statement back from them, but we definitely want to see how this progresses.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. We appreciate you. All right, everyone, it's 1:25. Let me just kind of pull up our website and see some of the things that are trending on our website right now before we go to break. We always are posting the latest interviews and the latest headlines on our site, fox32chicago.com, and it's at the top is obviously one of the world's favorite sports that's in full gear right now, and that is FIFA World Cup. And you can watch that on Fox Chicago when Fox Chicago has the FIFA World Cup games. We move all of our content over onto WPWR Channel 50, so we're still giving you the information both on air and then, of course, as we are right now, online. So there's one, if not one method, there's another method in order to get you in the know, and you can see live pictures out there. Man, have folks been having a lot of fun, whether you paid the however many thousands to get to these games, or for many of the watch parties that have been happening even here at home. I believe that our own Sammy P is going to be over at Recess today, as they have been having watch parties day after day, and so many people have been coming out to them, really enjoying their time during this exciting time, again, for people around the world who are watching football. All right, let's talk also today, some momentum here. Mayor Johnson signed an order to create the Chicago Gun Violence Reduction Department. And so on Monday, there was a group of advocates, including the new deputy mayor of community safety, Emmanuel Andre, who stood with them as they were pushing and calling for this department, this office for the city to really be a stable presence of gun violence intervention in the city. We all know it's a problem, and how to solve it, of course, is where things kind of get a little muddled a lot of the time. And then, of course, you have one administration that sees it in one way, and then you have another administration that comes in and may see it a different way. Well, they want to streamline that process. One, streamline the resources, but then also make sure that one administration to another isn't going to change the overall vision or the approach to tackling gun violence here in the city of Chicago. So this department would bring violence prevention programs under one office with a budget of more than $100 million. It's a permanent office. Some Chicago City Council members have supported the idea. Others are a little bit on the fence. I mean, anytime you talk about dedicating $100 million, look, there's a part, I think, of anyone who would say whatever it takes to save lives. Right? We see far too many lives that are taken due to gun violence in our city and beyond, but we're focusing on Chicago, right? So we see far too many lives that are taken, but just how to go about that budget, especially when you are in the midst of a $1 billion budget shortfall, again, is another area that things get real gray in terms of what the approach should be. So there are many alders who are very concerned about the allotment of money that is going to this, and there's been a lot of back and forth on many issues as usual here in the city, but just kind of going over the executive order that the mayor signed today. It's a 5-year plan to reduce gun violence. They hope that it's better coordination, as I mentioned, between city departments, monthly reports tracking violence reduction efforts so that we have some data to go by. Also, community safety priority zones in neighborhoods most affected by gun violence, and a 17-member advisory council made up of community leaders, violence prevention groups, CVIs, faith leaders, mental health professionals, and others, and that council will hold community meetings and give feedback on the city's violence reduction efforts over time. So that was a major development today that we were watching there at City Hall. Also, as we're speaking right now, Governor Pritzker, let's see, he's doing that signing ceremony for consumer protection, and they have the camera up, so we know that this is getting ready to start any moment now. A signing ceremony for a package of consumer protection measures that will lower the cost, he says, for working families. We are waiting for the details on exactly how they feel those costs will be lowered, but you can see again, the cameras are up there in the Concord Music Hall. This is on North Milwaukee, and as soon as the governor is there for the signing ceremony, we'll take you back there live. Let's take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll be back with our conversation. We're hoping any minute now to get our own Robert Ray, so we're kind of moving certain things around, but we'll see where we are in 2 minutes. right, welcome back, everyone. 1:35, and we have the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Ray from Fox Weather here in studio. Great catching up with you.
You too.
You know,
too.
it's pretty crazy, everybody, because Robert is all over America all the time. And so you feel like you know somebody, but at the same time, it's the first time we've seen each other in person.
Yeah, first time. Total pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I love it. In fact, it's very comfortable to be in a studio, which I'm never. So I'm like, this is kind of nice.
Yeah,
you know?
man. I mean, you're welcome here anytime. We were saying in the break, we saw him down the street with Fox Weather, and we're like, call him in.
Yes.
So we appreciate you coming over to be in studio for a bit. We're giving you a bit of a break with some AC and all of that.
I know, and it's been wild out there today. It was warm, and then the temperatures dropped, and then the wind came in, and now it's warm again, and yeah, it's Chicago.
It's
right?
Chicago, and you know Chicago well.
Yeah, born and raised here. So
Yeah.
indeed. I haven't lived here about 15 years, but nonetheless, it doesn't leave you.
Home is
That's for
home.
sure.
Yeah.
It's home.
So let's talk about what brought you here to Chicago.
Yeah.
You came in yesterday.
Yeah.
We had those storms last night. I mean, were you coming for the storms yesterday, or really to talk about the storms we've had?
Yeah, so another round of storms that came through. I mean, some of the suburbs down trees again. No, the reason I came yesterday morning was we wanted to look deeper into why so many tornadoes in the state of Illinois this severe season. Yeah. And so interviewed Ricky Castro from the National Weather Service in Chicago yesterday. And then when I got done with that, at 63rd Street Beach, we met. Then I drove down to Streeter, which had the EF3 tornado 2 weeks now ago. So wanted to look at how they're doing and how they're the trauma's over and sort of the pickup. But the answers we got on why the tornadoes is really complex. And if you want, I can go into it.
We've got time. That's what Chicago Live is all about.
There you go. Well, sounds good. So National Weather Service is kind of talking about two different things. We're in the transition of La Nina, which is warm waters in the Pacific, to from La Nina to El Nino. They think that the possibility of that transition currently going on is what has really charged up the atmosphere and created this sort of vacuum of tornadoes in the upper Midwest or in the Great Lakes. The other thing too that they said is that the technology is getting so good that they think there's a possibility that we've seen this many tornadoes before, but we just didn't know it. So the radars and all of the research is so advanced at this point that maybe 20 years ago, what was normally looked at as just heavy winds or straight line winds is now a tornado. Wow. So a lot of things going on, but nonetheless, that doesn't make it any better for all the communities and the people. I mean, right now, in the state of Illinois, and this number just went up in the past hour, 210 reported tornadoes, about 161 confirmed. So we've broken the records. We're not at the end of June yet, and frankly, a severe season goes all the way into the end of August. So cross your fingers that we're going to get a break. But I just don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, it's not feeling that way at this point. It's not.
No.
I mean, in places that just had their power knocked out, from last week's storms, we're like revisiting the same places, the same people.
Yeah, the suburbs, I can't imagine. Like those suburbs are just getting drilled.
Yeah.
The western suburbs, the Fox River Valley. I mean, every time, every couple of days, it's like another alert that comes in. And boy, it gets old. I mean, but everybody who lives in Chicago understands that it's dynamic weather 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
But this is excessive, right? And it's just kind of an anomaly, though maybe it's not, because maybe it's happened before. The research, they're trying to figure that out, NWS is right now. What kind of conclusions they come to, don't know how long it's going to take, because they're out there still surveying still damage. I mean, they're looking at things like what they thought were winds, and now going, oh, wait a second, no, this is an EF0 or an EF1 tornado.
And
that's
what
where the numbers
changes their designation when they're looking at straight line winds versus when they can say EF0, EF1?
A lot of times they'll look at vegetation, like trees. is a tree snapped or is a root, the root ball brought up? Straight line winds can take off roofs, so it's a little bit trickier. And then they have to look at the construction. How good is the home or business constructed? Like, was it constructed 30 years ago in different codes, and that's why it kind of fell apart? And if it's a new construction and it's been damaged, then we're talking about tornado. But it does take time, and then they also go by observance as well. Train spotters, storm chasers, and the amount of video that we have out there now. I mean, holy cow!
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my first tornado was 2002, and I'm working in news, and it was in Illinois, and nobody had video of it.
Yeah.
And you're like,
good point.
What happened? And now, I mean, every single tornado that
Very
happens,
good point.
there's video.
Yeah, mine was 2005 in Texas when I
Okay.
was working there, and you're right. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought about it until you just said that. I'm like, we didn't air any like cell phone video or anything like that.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah.
No, it was impossible. I mean, of course, can you imagine like you're trying to chase a tornado with those big cameras?
Yeah.
That just didn't happen.
Yeah.
So now it's dash cams, cell phones, you name it, and everything is there.
Yeah.
So I think the transparency is also what's giving the uptick to these confirmed tornadoes.
Yeah.
That's the day and age we live in, right? Everything is captured.
You are very true, very right about that. We had several of our coworkers who had family members in Streeter who sent us video, and I mean, it was pretty eye-opening to see this. I mean, you're kind of looking from their vantage point at their home, and you're seeing like through the trees, you do see the funnel right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how terrifying? I mean, I just knowing that you have to brace and anything goes.
Exactly.
at that
Not
point.
knowing what's getting ready to happen next.
Yeah, it's like being on the American Eagle at Six Flags and going, okay, well, we're going down the giant wood roller coaster right now.
Yeah.
So,
a lot going on, and it just seems weird that it does feel like Tornado Alley is shifting. But then, as you said, maybe it's been happening all along, and the attention was just more so, and the data was more so focused on the Great Plains.
Well, the thing is, I had an anchor in New York on Fox Weather ask me that question earlier live. And it's interesting. So, I mean, every state gets a tornado at some point during a 12-month period. Having said that, okay, so traditionally, you've got like the South, which is known for it, from Texas all the way to Georgia. And then you've got Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. But the reality is I'm not sure there's a designated tornado alley per se anymore, because the atmosphere just explodes with that warm Gulf moisture that comes in, and it affects such a big swath. And the other thing too is like the ecosystems of the United States. When you think about like how diverse our landscape is, I mean, maybe perhaps next to Australia, okay? But we just have violent weather every single month of the year. It doesn't matter whether it's snow, winds, tornadoes, hurricanes, you name it. And and frankly, that's why we're so busy at Fox Weather.
Yeah.
We just
There's always something for you to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
And see.
No doubt.
And learn about and educate us on. And on that note, you're heading where from here?
So tomorrow morning, I fly to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I'll interview the governor of Louisiana, the Army Corps of Engineers, and then environmentalists on what they're doing to shore up the coastline of Louisiana that's obviously been disappearing for many, many years. And the reason that it's so important there is because if that shoreline is not continually reinforced and built up, when these storms come in, hurricanes, eventually there'll be nothing. And the Mississippi River will just get wider, and New Orleans will cease to exist. So it's so important for the billions of dollars of shipping that comes out of the Mississippi and in, and also New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
New
And
Orleans
those folks have been through enough already.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. That town. But the thing is about that place, it is quite literally the epicenter of how to handle a disaster in the world, I think.
Yeah.
They just know what they're doing, and they know what they're in for.
Yeah,
no matter
and
what.
had to learn the hard way.
Totally. You know, they just, but those people are tougher than
Yeah.
nails. I love that place so much.
Yeah. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming here in studio with us to talk a little bit about your job overall. We think it's
Yeah.
fascinating. You know, we're always like, where is he now? What does it mean that he's here?
Right. No. Yeah. Thankfully, I'm just doing like you know, genuine reporting on the tower. No craziness. Although last night got a little crazy out in the suburbs.
It
And here
did.
downtown. Too.
Yeah. You know, our meteorologists were in continuous coverage for a while, you know, with tornado warnings that popped up for a part of our coverage area. And I mean, again, there was some damage.
Yeah.
Just glad that we're not talking about more today. The last 2 weeks have really been something.
Yeah, it's too much. It's
Yeah.
too much. I mean, I was looking at tourists in my hotel last night from overseas,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just walking out, looking around, going, "Is this normal?" And I actually said to somebody, "Well, recently it is. Unfortunately, the dub Windy City
Yeah.
has a couple meanings:
Yeah.
the politicians and the weather." Right?
Exactly. It wasn't called Windy City because of the
Right.
wind initially, but yeah, I mean,
Right.
it lives up to it.
It totally does.
Thank
Yes.
you so much for
Oh my
being
gosh,
here.
yeah. My pleasure.
And best wishes with your travels.
Thank you.
We appreciate what you do, seriously.
Oh no, thanks. It's an honor to be here, and thanks for inviting me in. Totally
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Now
We're
I got to
always
go
a
to
part of your home.
And now I get to go to Giordano's and grab a pizza across the street. No, I'm kidding.
You've worked for it.
Yeah. No, we've got 2 more live shots today. We're going to stand outside of Buckingham Fountain now.
Uh-huh.
So beautiful.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
1:45. Everyone, give us 2 minutes before we're back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's about 1:48 right now as we continue on with our conversations here. We've got to talk about water safety. There are so many ways to educate people about being safe in the water and making sure, especially during this time of the year, more people know how to swim. And so Fox Valley is doing a very unique opportunity. It's the world's largest swim lesson that they are hosting tomorrow. So we have from the Fox Valley Park District's aquatics program, the supervisor, Ryan Durr, who is joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell me how you all even got the idea to do something like this.
Yeah, so this is a partnership with the world's largest swimming lesson that was created by the World Water Park Association around 2010. They believe that it's important to build awareness around the water safety and teaching those important techniques that you're not only going to use while you're swimming, but it's a life skill that you're going to know your entire life. And we've been working with them for the past few years, since before COVID, at some of our outdoor facilities to bring this to the community. That's something everyone can enjoy.
Tell me how this works. Like, I mean, when you say the largest, like how many people are you anticipating? And then how does it work?
So the world's largest swim lesson part is a partnership with the company, and we work through, it's basically a partnership with all these different pools around the country and also around the world. I think there's more than 80 countries that participate in the program that gave us the Guinness World Record. For us, we open our registration right at the door. There's no prior registration needed. You just walk up. We will help you get registered, and it's a free registration too. So we want to make sure that we can include as many people as we can in order to teach this lesson.
I mean, are you thinking you're going to have 100, 1,000? What do you think?
Just based on past years, it's fluctuated, but we could see a couple hundred being there. But we have some excellent swim instructors that will not only teach these people the best techniques that they can, that also make it one of the most enjoyable things that they can do in the water.
Oh, it sounds super memorable, but honestly, very important as well. Talk about some of the things that you all see during this time of year, especially when it comes to people getting in the water who might not, who may underestimate the water, or might just not, have the full education that they need before they get in.
Yeah, so the main thing that we want to teach too, and obviously, like you said at the beginning, it's summer. A lot of people are getting in the water with the warm weather. Some people may think that they know a little more than they actually do. So it's important that with this lesson as well, we teach the importance of safe entry, understanding your surroundings. That's one of the most important things when you're at a pool. Not only knowing what your ability is, but what the people around you can do. If they need help, that you can assist them with. One of the most important things that we want to teach is, if you're a younger swimmer that's not as experienced, understanding the difference between water toys like flotation devices and the difference between that and life jackets, because obviously those are extremely life-saving important things.
Yeah, and it's important for people to know the difference. And we do see instances, we've just had this week, super unfortunate incident of a teenager passing away in the water. And one of the things that comes to mind in the conversation about that is something that comes up very frequently, is what to do, how to survive rip currents. Obviously, if there are red flags up, we don't want you to get in the water, but let's say someone does get caught in them. What do they do?
Yeah, so the most important thing, obviously, try not to get in that situation in the first place. With the rip currents, obviously you see it in Lake Michigan or in just any other river that you would encounter. It's important not to struggle as much, because in any situation, even if it's just at a pool, the easiest part that people often misunderstand is that they start to get very scared, they start to flail around, and they start to use all that energy, and then they eventually tire themselves out. The main thing is you want to just be aware of your surroundings and understand, what's the best way you can get out of this, and just making sure that you stay calm in that situation.
Yeah, and that's for anyone of any age. What are some of the common mistakes you think people make at pools?
I think the common mistake, a lot of people, sometimes we have rules posted on all the pool areas. Any pool you go to, there's obviously going to be rules that the lifeguards will make sure that you follow. Making sure that you're not doing anything that you shouldn't be doing with any toys. A lot of the times we see that people get injured with throwing like a ball around and it hits somebody on accident, or they're kind of playing rough with each other. That's especially, I know I've seen that a lot when working at pools. People play a little too rough with each other in the pool, and that can oftentimes cause a dangerous situation when nobody's really aware of it until it becomes a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm. And when you have events to educate the public, I mean, obviously, we want young people to learn, young people to be educated. But do you see some more seasoned? Let me say it that way: more seasoned folks who say, "I need this education too. I want to learn."
Yeah, of course. This event that we're hosting too, it's available to people of all ages, from children all up to elderly. Anyone can come. We want to make sure that we can bring the most enjoyable swim lesson experience, or to pretty much anybody that wants to learn. You could be even an amazing swimmer, and you're probably going to come away learning something that you maybe not have known before coming here.
Mm-hmm. What in the past years, when you've walked away from it, what were some of the takeaways, some of the things that people said that maybe they didn't even anticipate learning?
Yeah, so this lesson actually, it teaches a lot more in a very short amount of time. The first thing that we really go over is just understanding the difference between certain things, like I said, water toys versus life jackets. Some people may have not known that these floaty devices are not the same as life jackets, and they actually don't really prevent you from dangerous situations in the water. Safe entry. A lot of the people, they just jump in the pool and just don't think anything of it, but there's more to that than just jumping in the pool. There's a lot of different things that you should know with entering the pool, making sure that you're not in too shallow of an area where you could hurt yourself, or making sure you're aware of your surroundings. And then a lot of the times, some people, if they don't know certain swim techniques, just floating on your back, that is one of the best ways to prevent yourself from any dangerous situation in the water. Learning how to float on your back or just tread water so that you're a comfortable swimmer.
And obviously, this is a huge undertaking for the Fox Valley Park District, planning this to host this world's largest swim lesson. But what are some of the other things that have you all busy these days for the summer?
Yeah, obviously, we have our own swim lesson programs that run outside of this. We're kind of in the midst of all the swim lessons. They're going great. We have our two water parks, Phillips Park Family Aquatic Center, where our event is happening tomorrow, and then our Splash Country Water Park that is also seeing just a ton of visitors. The weather, it hasn't been as good as it could be, but we're seeing in the next few weeks it's going to be really nice, really good weather around that 4th of July season. So we're hoping to see a lot of people come through.
I'm sure you will, and we appreciate you all teaching and educating those so that everyone can have a safe summer, most importantly. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Wish you all the best with the fun that is to come.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, you take care. It's 1:57, and I do believe that Governor Pritzker is speaking now at that signing ceremony, speaking about consumer protection measures, so let's listen in.
Trust with audiences, and they lose revenue while middlemen walk away with the profits. That's bad for fans. That's bad for artists. That's bad for the small businesses that make our communities vibrant. And finally, we're bringing greater oversight and consumer protections to the rapidly growing buy now, pay later industry. As these products become more common, we have a responsibility to ensure that consumers have the information they need and that lenders operate under clear rules and standards. We're sending a clear message today. Illinoisans deserve a fair deal, not price gouging. Our goal is straightforward: transparency, accountability, and fairness. Today, Illinois is standing up to protect our consumers, to demand accountability, to make life more affordable. And that's why I'm very proud that I get to sign these bills in just a few minutes. And with that, I'm now happy to pass this over to someone who's been a fierce defender of our rights and consumers' pocketbooks, the absolute best Attorney General in the entire country, Kwame Raoul.
Coming from the best governor in the entire country, it's a high praise. particularly because I get to work together with many colleagues from different states on protecting Americans throughout the country who are struggling through an affordability crisis in every state in the country. And consumers deserve the ability to clearly and unambiguously compare prices on goods and services, especially as costs continue to rise. In a time when we're struggling with affordability, my office has long worked to protect consumers from unfair practices like junk fees, working to lower ticket prices and unfair practices towards venues and performers, and our antitrust enforcement on entities like Live Nation. And our partnership with the FTC to reach a $25 million settlement with Grubhub over deceptive practices like misleading consumers about delivery costs. Now, Grubhub has to display all fees that will be charged to the consumer, the nature and purposes of those fees, and the total cost of the purchase whenever a consumer selects an item on their platform. That commitment to consumer advocacy is why we work closely with Leader Morgan and Leader Aquino on this junk fees bill that's going to be signed today. We work carefully over time to ensure consumers know the full amount they will pay before making their purchasing decision. The clarification within the Consumer Fraud Act ensures that businesses must tell consumers how much they will pay up front. This creates an even playing field for everyone, consumers and businesses alike. There should no longer be a concern that providing the full cost to consumers at the outset will put a business at a disadvantage to those that instead hide costs and separate fees disclosed at the end of a transaction. And consumers will have the information they need to effectively comparison shop. Consumers being hit with unknown fees is not simply an annoyance. It is deceptive and unfair, and it stifles true competition in a functioning marketplace. I would like to thank again the sponsors, Representative Morgan and Senator Aquino, for their patience with me and my office. It was a ride. They displayed great patience to make sure we got it right and to make sure that any solution does not conflict with my office's broad consumer protection powers. And again, I would like to thank the best governor in the United States of America for signing this measure today.
All right, we've been listening in here to a press conference about consumer protection measures being signed. It's a host of bills being signed today by Governor Pritzker. We heard from Governor Pritzker himself and also Attorney General Raul, who spoke there about an affordability crisis. That's something that people are, it's a huge word this year, especially across the nation, here at home. They spoke specifically to price gouging and these measures that should impact that aspect of our communities. Transparency, fairness, those were words that they talked about. Accountability, and the fact that people need to be able to compare prices to make sure you're getting the best deal and know the full amount up front. That's come up in several big, which is why we're hearing from the Attorney General, several big lawsuits across the country, and the AG here in Illinois being one of the signees for one of those major lawsuits involving major corporations. So again, again, they're working toward more accountability, more transparency here, and ultimately fairness for consumers in this package of bills to better protect people moving forward. They're continuing on with that, but we have some very special guests coming up in this hour, so we're going to kind of move things along here. Give us 2 minutes and I'll let you know what's to come. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's about 2:06 right now. Let's talk a little bit about what's to come in this hour. Around 2:45, we're going to have our 5 p.m. producer, Sloan Salerno, who's going to come up and let us know about some of the things that they're working on right now for the later newscast. We also anticipate around 2:30 that we will have the general manager for the new Hollywood Casino in Aurora. Should be attracting people from all over, and there are so many different things that they're hoping that this will really provide opportunities for in the many years to come. At 2:15 to 2:20, somewhere around that time frame, we're going to get into a really important discussion about teens' mental health and a summit that is coming up, and we certainly hope that that will not only change lives but save lives. So that I'm looking forward to that discussion. But I've also been looking forward to our first one for this hour, and that is with none other than Chef Cliff Rome from the Obama Presidential Center, or the OPC. Week one of the since the grand opening, and how has it been going, Chef?
Crazy. Crazy good, though. No, we've been blessed. We're just chipping away at it, trying to make sure that we uphold the standard. Excellence is the standard. And so we're working tirelessly to make sure that we could keep that intact.
Okay, Chef Rome, how do you believe you were selected for this opportunity?
Well, they say you have to have a bit of luck, right? But the rest of it is the hard work. And so we have a great partner in Bon Appetit Management Company, and that collaboration led us to form a joint venture company called BAM Joy. And through that, we're able to deliver on all parts of, food service and hospitality. So, I never really realized the power of mentorship and partnership, but I mean, it is an amazing thing.
Chef Rome, you were so humble in that response. You're a legend here in the area.
We've been putting in the work.
Come on,
the
man, dust
is,
your shoulders off.
Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, man. I've been in business for over 30 years, and I understand the uphill battle and the mudslide that you had to have. And so the reality is we've been building in Bronzeville for a very long time on the corner of Peaches, corner of 47th Street, Peaches Restaurant, and then Parkway Social, which we've been here for over 25 years. I'm actually in our training room right now. We have a culinary and hospitality program called Mise en Place that we're looking to put individuals through our program so we have better trained individuals in our industry for careers. Our art gallery is right next door. We've had that for 18 years. So we're in the epicenter of culture. So the reality is, I've been doing it a long time, and so we're waiting on some great opportunities to come, and this is a fantastic one.
So this day last week, we are there at the grand opening ceremonies, and what were your thoughts as this moment was? I mean, I know you all have been in soft opening mode for a while, but as it was all really coming to fruition.
Man, that soft opening felt like we were open, right? So it wasn't anything soft about that. We were working. But, it was an amazing feeling because as a kid, I used to work at the Museum of Science and Industry. So I remember what that corridor used to look like, right? And it didn't look anything like how amazing and beautiful and hopeful how it is now. But I just had to pause for a couple minutes as I walked on that plaza. Just the amazing group of individuals that were there. So many faces, so many old faces. You've seen the trajectory of what the property started off to be and what it hoped to be and then what it wound up being. It's incredible, man. So I felt emotional simply because I know and I knew exactly what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, Museum Campus South, taking what we have known to be such a visitor hub downtown, and now creating and building upon. MSI's been there, Griffin MSI's been there, but like building upon what people can experience and create memories at on the South Side.
Man, it is. You have to acknowledge the fact that the history and the culture of Chicago, particularly Black Chicago on the South Side, what it means, right? And so we're not making up anything. We're just adding to. You're standing on the shoulders of giants, people who have been in this community and building. So to have this presidential center it is incredible to think about what it means to us, but what it's really going to mean to generations to come.
And people who will come from all over the world. And so give us a window in. What's the menu like? What are people, we know, like when I go to Peaches, I'm like, I gotta have the salmon croquette and grits, and a biscuit. But for your opportunity there at the OPC, what's really like the highlight of the menu?
So, you know what? President Obama was very instrumental in helping us curate the menu. In the beginning, we threw a whole bunch of things out. And he's like, yeah, that's fancy. I want simple, I want affordable, and I do not want someone pulling out their phone trying to, dissect the ingredient, right? So from lasagna to a cheeseburger, Moroccan chicken, the chili, right? He said, do not touch the chili. After he tasted it, he said, that's it, man. We're going to sell that. So it's very classic foods, right? Something that everyone on the menu could approach and eat. And, that is the starting point. He told us to save all the fancy stuff for catering.
Are there some things with their names on it, both Barack and Michelle?
The Obama chili, yep. And I think the Obama burger. So because he liked a good burger, but the chili was the thing that he said, hey, this is mine. And everybody started laughing. It's funny, we hosted the tasting here at the Parkway. And so for that night, it was magical. It was about 20 people in the room. And he actually quarterbacked the whole, tasting. We thought we were going to come out in between the courses. So, Mr. President, you have this, or P44, here's this. Man, he give me a pen, and he took the menu, and he started going down the chart, and he was asking everyone around the room, okay, what do you think? What do you think? So when folks are looking and they're experiencing it, and they say, well, did he? Yes, he did. The answer is yes. He actually walked through that entire menu and selected those items.
Has it given you a better appreciation for the Obamas? I mean, what do you feel? What feels different to you now, having worked with them in this capacity?
Relationship. First of all, he is funny, 1,000% a comedian. But like you see him in a totally different light. I mean, even when he walks in the room, he still illuminates that room, regardless of who's in that room. He lights it up, right? And it's everyone's always taken aback and very impressed by anything he says or does. And it's not just the pixie dust that is sprinkled when he comes in the room. It's like it's him, and he is 1,000% authentically who you thought he was, right? And so when he walks in a space, and when I get the nod or the chef, right, it's true. And so I don't, it's amazing too. So let me not say it's not. It's crazy. But the fact is that he is a human being, and he cares. He definitely wants to make sure that people are taken care of. So he's very intentional about his approach. I didn't think anything other than that, but I can honestly say, and I don't have to hear it from 2-3 people removed. I could say, I sit in the room, I listen to what he has to say, and I implement my part. And so that relationship is priceless. And it'll be one historically that I could tell stories about for generations to come with my own family.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to sit down with Valerie Jarrett, the CEO for the Obama Foundation recently before the grand opening. And one thing that she talked about that they wanted to make sure that people understood was that this was a lot of ordinary people that had the opportunity to do extraordinary things. Speaking of the Obamas, but now that includes you. What do you, you provide so many opportunities for young people and up and comers in the area. What is your message to them about the renaissance or the movement, the momentum that's happening right now, and your part in that?
I mean, again, I keep using amazing because it is an amazing opportunity to have impact, and I really understand what impact means. And the power of partnership, the power of mentorship. When I spoke of that, is amazing, and it's needed. It's necessary. We come from a community where we're predominantly institution deficient, and so what I feel in our programming and our employment opportunities, we're creating more than just jobs. It's a career path for any individual who wants a meaningful job in hospitality, and to be able to go across campus and to be an intersection between hope and opportunity. Like it's exactly why we build a business. Listen, most of our businesses are on corners, and I understand that corners are cornerstones to any community, and so we start to look at our contribution to the folks that are working, and the goal is to make them better contributors to society. So I rest good at night knowing that perfect costs too much. What we want is consistency.
And when I think of the fact that this will be there forevermore, and you are now a part of this lasting legacy there in Jackson Park. You of course, this is an added addition to your legacy throughout Chicago here, and I think of the many kids who may not have even been born during the Obama time in office, that this goes well beyond just a presidential story.
Oh man, this is, yes, to that point, it goes well beyond that. I mean, my own kids, my son will be 18 this summer, and my youngest son is 15, and just being able to share that moment, or those moments with them. My oldest son was actually in the car with me when we got the call. And he was like, well, what is that about? Okay, are we still going to get something to eat afterwards? So, for him, it'll be something that he'll be able to tell his family about, in years to come. But, just being a part of history. I walked downstairs in the lower level, and I actually saw my name, on the wall. And I said, man, that's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's not only is it an emotional feeling, but just knowing that we were instrumental in bringing this to life. That's not nothing, as my grandmother used to say. That's not nothing.
It's
That's
not.
something to be proud about, baby.
It is. It is. It is. On a final note, I know that there's another wave of tickets that are going to open up for people in just a couple of weeks, so that the people can get tickets from, I believe, through January. And so, if people are getting ready for that next wave, and I mean, you've been a part of all of this from the beginning. Help them plan the day. Like if they're planning to come over, what's your best advice to plan your day?
Man, especially depending on where they're coming from geographically, right? The idea is that, first of all, everyone should know you can't take it all in one day. So that's a fact. So you should plan a weekend. But the idea is that, especially if you're coming north, if you're coming from the north-south, the idea is that you have to stop in Bronzeville. We want to see you over at Peaches on 47th. There's a lot of other great restaurants that we want you to tour. On the way over, you could stop by President Obama's house and take a tour, take pictures, then visit High Park, right? Make your way on over to the center. Now you're on campus. You've worked up an appetite, so you have to come to Bar Eye or go down to the cafe. Definitely make your way over to the gift shop. But the entire experience should have you feeling that we saved a seat for you at the table. So the goal is to be able for you to come in and not just experience Chicago from a touristic standpoint, be a tourist, but also be in community. Visit these amazing neighborhoods that help make up the 77 neighborhoods of Chicago. Like we're doing Bam Joy, Bon Appetit, Rome's Joy, and we have definitely extended ourselves from a culinary and hospitality standpoint, where we want to make sure that it's inclusive. We're doing the work of community, so we want you to be able to feel it. And understand that it's going to be a wait. It's going to be a wait.
Hopefully, even if you have to wait, it's just worthwhile when it all comes to fruition. Thank you so much. And I would think, we had to wait for it to kind of come up on the ground, and people were like,
Yes.
what is that? What's happening? So
Yes.
and hopefully it all is worth the wait in the end. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for what you do here in the city, and can't wait to check out the food over there at the OPC and say, man, that is Chef Rome at it again.
Man, I am so waiting to see you again. I'm going to hold you to it.
Will do. See you real soon.
Thank
All
you.
right, take care. Thank you for your time today.
Bye-bye.
All right, and everyone, again, they are releasing another block of tickets for the Obama Presidential Center. Member pre-sale on July 1st, general public sale July 8th, and that covers September through January. So you want to get in on that. 2:21, give us 2 minutes and we'll be back. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's 2:23 right now, and a super important conversation on tap at this moment. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 40% of high school students report frequent feelings of sadness or hopelessness, and we want to turn those numbers around. That is concerning, to say the least. We have Daniel Bell, the director of social and emotional learning at By the Hand Club for Kids, who's here with us to talk about the teens' mental health for summer break, the summit that's coming up. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Certainly appreciate it. You do this work day in and day out. And what are some, I mean, we can look at a statistic on paper, but what are some of the things that you actually see?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the biggest things that I'm noticing is we're talking about the summer, right? It's a time where there's less structure. Students aren't at school with all of those daily supports, right? They're in school all day. There's school social workers, counselors, extracurriculars. And now that they're not experiencing all of those things, you start to see an increase in some of those like feelings of helplessness, feelings of hopelessness, and some of those mental health struggles because they feel more isolated.
Mm-hmm. And have you seen that increase like since COVID?
Absolutely. Absolutely. COVID was a challenging time for a lot of people for a lot of different ways. And kind of during that time, a lot of people were isolated, right? They weren't able to be at school with their peers. They were stuck at home. And so since then, that's really impacted a lot of students' ability to just regulate their emotions. And I think also those social skills, right? That was a critical time for students to build those healthy social skills, being at school all day, interacting with their peers. And so some of those, or that time, really impacted them.
Mm-hmm. And it seems that, I mean, you know, we all have our phones and our screens nearby, and as we are a society that is more focused on screens and more isolated, these mental health issues, it seems like they get exacerbated.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. You know, there's a lot of great things that come from social media and things like that, right? We're able to stay connected with our friends, see what's going on. But oftentimes, all we're seeing is the best version of what's going on in people's lives. But in reality, that's not always the case. And so when you're somebody that's kind of, I guess, doom scrolling, seeing all of those things that others are experiencing, it can start to impact you in a lot of ways and make you feel like you want what others might have, and then that again just increases those some of those concerns of mental health.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the things that you all do to try to combat these feelings, these numbers that we're seeing.
Absolutely. So, By the Hand Club for Kids, it's an incredible organization where we're Christ-centered. We take students by the hand, and we walk with them from kindergarten through high school and beyond. And we offer them what we say abundant life, and that's mind, body, and soul. So we try to be really holistic with how we care for our kids. And so they're getting that faith-based component, literacy and homework support, experiencing enrichment and learning new skills, going on field trips throughout the city of Chicago. And then where I come in my team is that social and emotional learning piece. And so we're able to provide in-house counseling with licensed professionals at each of our clubs, and we're able to meet with those students right where they're at, allow them that space to process their emotions, deal with grief, and then just build those healthy social skills, emotional management skills that are needed to be healthy.
And when you talk about processing things, I think that you work directly with kids on the South and West sides, correct?
Correct.
I think that a lot of people, I mean, we obviously see videos. We have conversations constantly about the teen trends, mass gatherings, teen takeovers, whatever you want to call them. But one thing I think that maybe people really don't have more conversations about is a lot of young people processing very adult things at early ages, like the amount of trauma that a lot of young people are trying to process on their own.
Right. Yeah, I mean, By the Hand strategically is in some of Chicago's most under-resourced neighborhoods. So it's not a guarantee that our students have those experiences, but it increases that likelihood. So yes, a lot of our students come in with experiences of trauma, whether that's violence in their community, lack of access to healthy foods, and all of that impacts their ability to regulate, right? Because when you're experiencing those things, it impacts your brain's ability to be able to cope and think through and work through those things, right? You're in that constant state of survival mode. Things are perceived quickly as threats, and so you're more likely to process and respond to those things in negative ways. So absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And in your time of being there and in working with students, what is some of the, if you're kind of highlighting some of the success stories, what are some of the changes you've seen in youth?
Oh my goodness. That's why I do what I do, is because I get to see firsthand transformation and truly the most resilient kids I've ever met in my life. And so, I mean, I've worked with students where daily meltdowns, daily fights, running out of the classroom, to I know that specific person is getting ready to go to one of the top high schools in the country on a full ride scholarship.
Oh, wonderful.
Seeing students who have experienced grief and loss and really just come from a dark place to thriving. I had a student I worked with where they experienced a traumatic loss, and through counseling and a lot of supports, and it's not just me with the counseling, there's so many protective factors we try to put around our kids. But this particular young lady went from really struggling and isolating to getting all A's, smiling every day, right? Again, just those resilient qualities. I get to see that every single day, every year.
Yeah, I love it. And I hope that there are many, many, many more stories just like that. We appreciate what you do. If somebody is listening right now or will see this online in the hours to come and they're thinking, I know someone who could use that help, what should they do?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's really important that we understand that as parents, as adults, you guys can be some of the greatest protective factors in a child's life, right? So it's important that you're paying attention to what might be some of those smaller changes that might be a sign that your child or someone you know is struggling and needs that help, right? So maybe you're seeing an increase in irritability that's maybe not typical, maybe some more withdrawal type behaviors, loss of interest in activities they typically enjoyed, or even reporting that hopelessness or anxiety. That's a great time to check in with those students, check in with that child, and have those meaningful conversations, and take it a step further than just how's your day going, and ask more open-ended questions. Make sure that you're encouraging social interaction, right? Are there extracurriculars, things that your child can do during the summer that can keep them connected to their peers and to those healthy social things? Those are all super important. And then if you're really concerned, talk to your doctor, talk to a trusted friend. There's a lot of mental health supports out there to support your kids, and we need to make sure we take that serious. So, yeah.
We absolutely have to take it seriously. Thank you so much for your time and for what you do on a regular basis.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Take care. It's 2:32 right now. I believe, is the governor still speaking? Okay, he is taking some questions right now from reporters. Let's listen in.
But there has been some confusion as to whether the mayors are actually working on the legislation in Illinois, as you mentioned the other day. Who are you and your staff talking to with the mayors? Who's conveying that message?
I really don't have anything to add to what I said yesterday and the day before and the day before that. The work is getting done by lots of folks. I told you that calls are being made. So there's really not much to add. There's still work to be done. Again, nothing new to add from the last time we talked about this. Hi. Did you mention the Hawaii decision also? Yeah. I really, I mean, rather than go through each one, I'll just say that, look, we know what the Trump administration is trying to do when it comes to attacking black and brown people in this country, about, taking people's rights away from them, sending CBP and ICE into cities, making it harder for people who are truly whose lives are in danger from getting the kind of refuge that they seek. And I'll just remind you that my family were refugees to this country and would have been killed if we hadn't been allowed to enter this country. So I think that we ought to be thinking strongly about changing our immigration laws to protect people who need protection, who are coming to this country or are in this country already. As far as the Hawaii decision, once again, this is a Supreme Court that is basically putting guns into people's hands, thinks it's okay if you're able to go to the grocery store with your guns and threaten other people possibly with those guns, and make it more dangerous for not just grocery stores, but venues, small businesses, everything you can think of. It shouldn't be that you feel under threat everywhere you go, and it should be that businesses can keep those guns out.
All right, we listen into a bit of the question and answer portion there for Governor Pritzker coming off of this event that he had, the signing ceremony for a package of consumer protection measures. Of course, when they open it up to the reporters, they can ask about a litany of other topics. Just by chance, we started to tune in right when he was being asked about the Bears. And of course, that's the big question everyone has for him this summer, when the Bears say we expect to have 2 proposals by late spring, early summer, and spring has gone by. As of Sunday, that's the start of summer, so we're in early summer. So everyone's waiting to see, what is Illinois going to do? Is Illinois going to rally and come up with something, save the day, keep the Bears in Illinois? And we're still in wait and see mode. And if you heard the governor there, he said he has nothing new to add, that he hasn't said in the last day or the day before that, or the day before that. I'm not sure I'm even quoting him with enough day befores there. But he was also asked about Supreme Court decisions today. Of course, a couple came down earlier. He talked about the Supreme Court striking down Hawaii's law requiring permission to carry guns in stores and hotels. That was a biggie that came down today. So they're continuing on with their question and answer portion. But our next guest is here. So give us 2 minutes before we proceed on with our conversations here. Going out to Aurora for some new things that are opening up and available for all to see and be entertained by. Okay, welcome back, everyone. 2:38 right now. We never suffer for a lack of entertainment in Chicagoland, but Aurora is officially taking things up a notch right now, celebrating their grand opening of the new Hollywood Casino and Hotel Aurora. Greg Moore, the vice president and general manager there, is joining us now. Thanks so much for being here in your time of celebration, and congratulations on getting it off the ground.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anita. We're looking forward to seeing all of Chicagoland soon.
I'm sure people will be coming from near and far. What do you think will be like the seller for most people? Like, what's going to get them there?
I think it's the wow factor. We have managed to put together a lineup of celebrity chefs that is pretty much unmatched in the Chicagoland area. Giada has opened a restaurant named Sorella. She's actually out here today, visiting with the staff and getting ready for the ongoing activities. We've got the Boulevard Food and Drink Hall, which has multiple James Beard Award-winning chefs involved, from Stephanie Izard to Sean McLean to Bill Kim to Takashi. It's a fantastic setup, and it's not really a facility just for gambling anymore. It's bringing the city out to the suburbs, and no matter what vibe you're looking for, we've got something to entertain you.
Yeah, it's interesting that you started with Giada, because yesterday when I came into work, someone was like, "Did you hear Giada is going to be there?" So yeah, that is something I think that got a lot of people's attention. And then also a lot of folks are right here in our studio asking about the spa.
The spa is fantastic. We partnered with a company out of Pennsylvania named Drift Spa. It is one of the nicest spas I've seen in quite some time. They consider themselves more of a farm to spa, similar to a farm to table setup. So all of their ingredients and their lotions and massage oils and things like that are all natural, just to keep it as elevated as possible. And they offer the full services. So they do hair, they do nails, makeup. They can handle a whole wedding reception if they need to.
Wow. Oh, and talk about the transition from the old to the new, how that's been.
It's nothing short of an evolution at this point. The old casino was built to be a casino in 1993, so it's been there quite some time, and it had good food and beverage. Now we've elevated ourselves to a full-on entertainment center. We've got a 12,500 square foot ballroom that can be converted to host live music, tickets through Ticketmaster, everything there. We have the hotel attached to it with 226 rooms, and we have the outdoor courtyard, which allows us to activate that for a variety of functions throughout the years. For instance, anybody in Aurora last night might have been able to catch our drone show that we had put up over the casino last night, and some great food trucks out there.
Love it, love it, and I know people have been excited about this for a while. What would you say has been the most challenging thing along the way? Because this has been a huge undertaking.
This has taken some time. I think a big part of it was to do a program of this size. We had to acquire multiple city lots, get them all converted into one plot of land. And then the delicate procedure of relocating one entire casino to another location while staying fully compliant with all of Illinois regulations was exciting, to say the least. But we worked together with the Illinois Gaming Board and managed to get our permit to open as of Tuesday. So Wednesday was go time.
Wow. What do you expect this economically to bring to Aurora?
I think it's going to be close to a game changer for Aurora. The way the Illinois law is written, the local host city gets some of the gaming tax that spins off of the location. They get part of the boarding tax. So anybody that comes onto the casino floor, there's a tax involved with that. The state gets some, the city gets some. The addition of the hotel will help the taxpayers. It should generate a significant amount, including the jobs. We started off this year with a little less than 400 team members, and if you look at the entire complex, we are over 800 team members now. And then just bringing in all of that volume and being able to work with some of our local businesses to drive more business through there.
And for you, I mean, personally, what is it meant to be a part of this? Are you from Aurora, or what was the last, kind of big thing that you launched was it anywhere in comparison to this?
I don't think there's really anything in comparison to this program. This has been, like I said, just an absolute evolution. This is a $360 million project coming to the state of Illinois, coming to the city of Aurora, creating jobs. This is what I would consider kind of the premier achievement, I think, of many of my staff. Being able to say you opened the Hollywood Casino Aurora was challenging and took a lot of effort, but at the end of the day, the pride we have in this casino is great.
Feather in your cap. Can't wait to check it out. It looked great as we were, kind of checking in along the way. And so I'm super excited for you all to now have it fully open to everyone. Now, I know you mentioned, having a hall that's like Ticketmaster capable. Are there some celebrities or some entertainers that you all have on your wish list?
Ooh, wish list question. That's a really interesting one. We've got a couple good ones coming up already, so it could be hard to beat those. On July 11th, we have the X-Ambassadors coming out. Shortly after that, we have Lit and Sponge for some more rock. We have some comedians lined up, including Ben Bankus. So we're just going to kind of see who we can attract out here and kind of have some fun with it.
I'm sure you'll have plenty of fun with it. First comes the building, and then everyone else will come. If you build it, they will come. So I'm sure we'll be hearing about wonderful things coming from the Hollywood Casino Aurora for many years to come. But a wonderful speaking with you the week of grand opening.
Absolutely. We're glad you guys could join us. And now that we are open and fully operational, everybody can come visit us and experience a little bit of bringing the city into the suburbs.
Will do, and we'll have our appetites ready for giada and more. All right, everyone. 2:45. Give us 2 minutes, and we're going to bring in our 5 p.m. producer, Sloan Salerno. All right, it's about 2:48 right now. Let's bring in Sloan Salerno, our 5 p.m. producer. Sloan, what are you all working on down there for the later shows?
Hello. Yeah, we've got a lot going on today. We got to start with the storm damage. So Leslie is going up to Bartlett. We know that a tornado did touch down near Huntley last night, and there could be, the path kind of went toward Bartlett. And so crews are on the ground there today trying to figure out if there was a tornado in Bartlett, or, exactly how many touched down, where did it touch down, did it start in Huntley, move somewhere else. So she's there. There's a lot of damage. Storm knocked out a lot of trees. Power lines are down. The north side of town has it the worst. So she's going to be over there where there's still a lot of people who don't have power. And then 2 weeks ago, actually, Bartlett was hit by an EF1 tornado, and we got all those other crazy storms. And so I know you guys had Robert Ray on earlier, and you were talking about how many tornadoes we've had in Illinois, and it's insane. And, we're breaking all these records. And that was, the tally after, however many weeks now we're kind of just getting into the storm season. So it's, you clean up, and then a week or 2 weeks later, you're hit again.
That's the hard thing, to see the people that we are revisiting, and in such quick order here. I mean, it really is just one of those seasons where you're like, what else is to come? Because when you do see the videos, the damage, the cleanup efforts, you are not expecting that the very next week you're going to be talking about more damage and more power outages, and that's what's hit a lot of folks.
Yeah, I feel like especially in Illinois, you always think, we're safe from most natural disasters. We don't have hurricanes, don't really have wildfires. And then now all of a sudden, the past couple years, it's tornadoes that you have to worry about, which is crazy.
Yeah, has been, for sure.
All right, and then we have Joni. So she is following this story out of Gary, Indiana. So in 2024, a former Gary police commander, his name's James Bond, he was indicted for sexual exploitation of a minor, and a bunch of other charges related to that. And so this week, it was essentially a former intern for the city of Gary, a teenager. He was the one who was part of those charges of who was being abused. And so now that teen, he's suing that former commander, the city of Gary, and the Gary Police Department, and the city's Youth Services Bureau. So his claim is that officials within the department and the city didn't do anything to stop that former commander from grooming him while he was a minor. And so she's digging into that. There's a lot of documents she has to go over, but that's what she's covering today.
Horrible story. And I know it's still kind of being adjudicated, but just those types of allegations turn your stomach.
Yeah. And then, Brett, we have the parking meter deal. So right now, the Finance Committee has been talking about it all day. And this isn't like, we're not expecting a vote today, but the gist of it was, as most people know, in 2008, former Mayor Richard M. Daley, he leased the city's parking meters for 75 years, and that was to, fill a budget hole. But it ended up, the people who bought the company, which is now under Chicago Parking Meters LLC, they're making so much more than was that budget hole. Last year alone, they made like $189 million. And so there's been rumors that the mayor is putting together a team to try to explore buying the lease back. And even if that does happen, it's not probably going to be within Chicago. So right now there's a private equity group out of New York City. It's called Stonepeak. They did sign a purchase agreement, but there's been concerns over that group because they work with the federal government on immigration enforcement. And so right now it's, unclear, is there actually going to be a deal? We've been living with this parking meter deal forever. And even if a new company did buy the parking meters, as far as your everyday person, like, you wouldn't really notice much change as far as when you're going to pay for the parking meter. So it is interesting to see if there is going to be a change. It kind of always seemed like it would not be financially make sense for Chicago to buy the parking meters back. So yeah, we'll see what happens on that.
Yeah, and I know that Stonepeak has said that they want to be transparent, and that they have offered up their folks to speak about their operations and what they would offer in this type of deal moving forward. But there were also like 22 alders who said it's a no-go for them. They're voting against it.
Yeah. And so who knows, is it just kind of, a waste of time to even bring it up again if everyone's going to turn it down, or can they change minds? So we'll see what happens with that. And then Brett also has another story, a special report that's going to air tonight at 5. So it's kind of going over, if the Bears do leave Chicago, maybe they go to Arlington Heights, maybe they go to Hammond, McCook, wherever they go, what would happen to Soldier Field? And so he talked to Friends of the Park. He talked to people from the Park District and a bunch of other groups of like their plans for it, what would Chicago be, what would Soldier Field be turned into? Because someone he talked to kind of said it doesn't really make sense as a stadium in today's day and age. You know, all of stadiums around the country are trying, the goal is, you know, making money. And so buying the property around it, selling parking spots, doing all that stuff, which you can't do around Soldier Field. And so, you know, what does it look like? Is it, you know, do they put a dome on it anyway and make it year-round use? And so, yeah, he's diving into that, which will be interesting to see.
Very interesting to see. And let me tell you, we were just listening in to a little question and answer with the governor, who seemed thoroughly annoyed that that we are still asking him these questions about where the Bears are going to be. But it is the big conversation of the summer.
Yeah. It feels like it's been the big conversation, you know, for my whole life at this point. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And then Tia has a great story too. So the Cook County Sheriff's Office, since March, they've been patrolling CTA trains. It's part of the state's CTA security plan. And so yesterday, Tia got the chance to go inside, get on the train, kind of go undercover, if you will, and see how they operate and how they're keeping people safe, or trying to. And so she saw several arrests when she was there. There were drugs, and they saw people, you know, getting grabbed and talked to for crossing from one car to the other, because the Cook County Sheriff's Office, they're like, we're not letting anything slide anymore. You know, you can't even do that. And so that's going to be a great piece that she's putting together too, that I can't wait to see.
I'm sure it's going to be a great piece. And there's so much to that because, of course, that's another one where the federal government has been kind of overlooking and saying, hey, wait, if you guys can't get it together, we're coming in.
Yeah. And so, yeah, their officers are on there, and I'm sure people have seen more of them. And she said when she was on the train, she even had one woman come up to her, or come up to the officers or deputies and say, I'm so glad to see you here, because, you know, I've been abused and attacked on the train before. And so a sense of comfort for her could be a sense of fear for others. And so it's interesting to see that divide.
Yeah, very true. That, you know, some people feel like it over militarizes things, but at the same time, we have seen some heinous things happen. I mean, they can say that overall violence is down both in the city and even on the CTA trains, but we have seen some really horrific instances, and so there are issues with not just the numbers, the raw numbers, but then the perception as well of safety. Do you even feel safe when you're on the train, when you see some of the things that we have seen?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you can't have officers on every single train at all hours of the day. So it's kind of a fine line of, you know, how do you patrol and, you know, still have enough members to, you know, look after the rest of the people in the city that aren't on the trains. And so it's interesting. She'll go into that of, like, you know, how they make the numbers work and how many hours the officers are working. And so, yeah, that's going to be, again, very interesting to see.
Yeah, looking forward to that report. What else do you have?
That's all I have for you today. We have no Across America because
Come on, Sloan.
We have Brett's package is long and great. Tia's package is going to be long and great. It's a good problem to have. We have a lot of reporters today, and so they're filling up our show.
All right. I know it's got to be great if you left off Across America, because that's your thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking time for us. We appreciate it, Sloan.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you, and we'll see her work coming up. And the 5 o'clock newscast, the 4 and the 5 o'clock, they are working feverishly to put those together right now. And as we get ready for the 3 o'clock hour, I do want to turn your attention back to a discussion that we had in the 1 o'clock hour. If you were with us, we talked about a strike that has been voted on for healthcare workers. It's about 50 healthcare workers, and they anticipate going on strike July 2nd, if I am correct here. And we spoke with their union project manager for IUOE Local 399, and talking about some of the issues in terms of contract negotiations going on right now for these workers, and what they're hoping to get out of these 6 prime healthcare hospitals here in Illinois that they are set to picket very soon. Well, we did get, in that interview, I said a couple of times that we had reached out to the hospital system, to Prime Healthcare, and tried to get a response from them. And at that point in time, we had not heard from them. We did get a response since then. And so I want to make sure that we're fair to them and that we read this to you. It says, from day one, MedSpace Services has respected the rights of its workers to engage in lawful, protected union activity, including the right to organize. MedSpace has bargained in good faith during all our negotiations with IUOE 399 and will continue to do so. With respect for our employees and in support of our shared future, the hospitals have comprehensive plans in place to ensure operations continue without interruption, and we do not anticipate any impact to patient care. Again, this is coming from MedSpace Service workers, from MedSpace Service spokesperson in response to the workers who have now agreed to strike, to picket 6 area hospitals here in Chicago as of July 2nd. We'll see if anything can be worked out before that date, and of course we'll report back if so, but that's where things stand right now. Let's take a 2-minute break and I'll let you know what's coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. Okay, welcome back, everyone. 3:01 right now. We are in our final hour of Chicago Live for the day. So let me tell you about where we're going with our conversations before we get to the 4 o'clock news. We are going to talk about teen trends. It has been a major point of conversation across the country and especially here in Chicago over the last few summers. And yesterday we saw what was really a moment there at City Hall where teens themselves were invited to quote unquote take over the council hearing so that these adults could hear from the teens themselves about what they feel they need from the city to be productive. You know, if it's just adults speaking, maybe we're leaving out some things that the kids feel they actually want or need. And maybe you're getting ready to implement some things that the kids feel aren't necessary or could be used in a different way. Or, maybe we're just missing each other in conversation because it's just the adults who are speaking. That was kind of the frame of mind in having the youth lead the hearing yesterday, and we're going to hear from one of the youth that spoke up at that meeting, coming up around 3:45, and hear more about, did they feel even the meeting was productive. We heard from some teens yesterday that said they kind of had mixed feelings about the meeting itself, but at the very least, the teens were invited to have a say, to have a seat, at the table, and we're hearing more from them. And so we will hear from, again, one of the teens from the Austin community who spoke at that meeting yesterday, and get a better perspective from the young people themselves about this issue that, has really perplexed us all as to how to curb what we're seeing, how to give youth an opportunity to do better things in the city, to feel welcome anywhere, but at the same time to protect businesses, to protect people who are out on the streets, to make sure that when teens are gathered, because they are still young people, that there is some type of supervision and enforcement to make sure that they are even protected. So we'll get into that discussion. Very nuanced discussion coming up around 3:45. We're also going to speak with the minds behind Fond du Lac in Wisconsin. They are launching a new talent attraction program, and they're looking squarely over the state line here to Chicagoland to try to get more folks to do both remote work and also to join their local workforce talent. We have the president and CEO for Envision Greater Fond du Lac. That's coming up around 3:30. We're going to get into a discussion about our weather because it's kind of been all over the place the last several weeks, as we were just speaking with Sloan Salerno, our 5 p.m. producer. And if I'm even looking at the web trenders, our number one trending topic on our website right now is Chicagoland storm aftermath, tornado, flooding, power outages, and damage. I mean, that is also a huge talker, just the weather and where we've been and where we're going, because yesterday's weather and today's weather are two different things. So we'll get into that with JD Rudd coming up in just a bit. But we're starting our conversation kind of picking up off of the question and answer portion of Governor Pritzker's last event that we took you to live. He was there for consumer protection measures that he was signing, bills that he was signing. But in the question and answer portion, he was asked about Supreme Court decisions today. One of those was a Hawaii decision having to do with guns, but the other one that he spoke more at length about was a decision on asylum seekers. Now, the court has essentially agreed that the Trump administration can re-implement, so it's not new, but re-implement a policy, and officials can once again prevent some people from applying for asylum by ensuring that they cannot cross the border to present themselves to immigration officers. And I want to bring in Ali Tarok, the Director of Development and Communications at Syrian Community Network, to speak more about this and his side, their organization's side of things here. Thank you so much for your time.
Good to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
What were your thoughts when you heard the decision today from the Supreme Court?
We are absolutely frustrated, but we are not shocked by that decision. Personally, I was expected to hear that decision, but I would like to share the impact of that decision on our communities. First of all, there are more than 6,000 Syrian people across the country who are under the TPS status, and roughly around 500, between 300 to 500 Syrians are the TPS recipient are in Illinois. And it's going to impact the entire community, because if they cannot stay here legally, they have to go back to their country. It means Syria. And everyone knows that the country is not ready to host the Syrian in their own countries, because there is not enough infrastructure. There are still healing after the civil war, and so many people went back to Syria after the war, and there is nothing left to rebuild their life over there. There is no life over there that much. So it's going to put our family in a disaster, and we are absolutely frustrated.
I hear you, and I've seen, other immigration rights groups that have said this has destroyed the United States' position as a global leader in promoting the rights of refugees and threatens to serve as a dangerous justification for other countries that unlawfully prevent refugees from crossing borders to reach safety. I would argue, the Trump administration is saying that the U.S. isn't capable of hosting the amount of refugees that it maybe had in the last several years, especially that there needs to be, this continues to be their position, that there need to be more guardrails around who is entering the country and how long people can be here. Your thoughts?
So, there are so many myths here. I want to raise some awareness for your audience. First, for example, that the TPS recipients, they are not allowed to use the public benefits. For example, they cannot apply for a SNAP or Medicaid or receive, the TANF benefits. And the second is United States, yes, has been globally a leader in resettling refugees. And, since 1980, we have resettled more than 3 million refugees. And but compared to the actual number of the forcibly displaced in the world and the number of refugees, this number is actually is nothing. So today, as of today, we have more than 120 million forcibly displaced people in the world, and a little bit more than 40 million of the people, the forcibly displaced people are refugees, means are registered in United Nations High Commissioners for Refugees, UNHCR, and almost 1% of these refugees have a chance to get resettled in the third countries. So United States with infrastructure and the capacity, definitely we have the capacity to host more refugees and help them to to go through that legal pathway. And also, and other things that we have to remember, that refugees do not leave their country to seek better life. Refugees leave their country to seek safety. And this is very important to understand, that these people are not here to take opportunities away. These people are not here to use public benefits. These people are here because of their home countries was not a place to live, because of they left because of the war, persecution, religion reasoning. So we have to remember that United States also claim that we are the leader of the free world and we care about human rights.
Are you concerned in seeing this? And it was a divided court, as usual, a 6-3 decision on this, and we still have like birthright citizenship that's still lingering out there, that we continue to wait to see what the court will rule on. Do you take this ruling today and have great concern for what the next one may be?
Maybe, but also we have to remember that the Supreme Court job is to interpret the constitutions, right? Not creating policies or imposing new policies. So it's up to the judges how to interpret the constitutions. I was expecting to, as I say, the TPS decision was kind of expected based on our constitutions, but I'm very hopeful that the birthright decision will be in favor of people in maybe next week.
Okay, well, we're still waiting to see. And on this particular decision, the country has gone back and forth on this. What does that do to people caught in the middle of that, when the country is going, a few years saying, one thing, and then a few more years saying something else, before a few more years later, kind of revisiting what they said maybe 8 years ago?
So do you mean about TPS or
TPS,
overall the
yeah.
immigration policies?
Asylum.
So, immigration is always a hot topic in this country, right? So, and also we have to remember the United States it's an immigrant land, right? It's a promised land for everyone in the world to come to this country. We cannot, forget the history that this country has been built on immigrant people. So, but unfortunately, our politicians always politicize our human rights and politicize the immigration, and politicize people's life actually who are immigrated in this country, including refugees. And frankly, that our laws are outdated, and I believe the Congress can play a better role in the near future and update some laws such as the Refugee Act of 1980, because based on that act, based on that law, it's up to the President of the United States to determine the refugee admission numbers. So we see, when we have a president in favor of refugees and immigrants, we have a higher number. When we have another president who is not in favor of refugees and immigrants, they reduce it to 0. So, and we have to remember that when we really play with these regulation laws or dismantling the system, we are really playing with people's life. There are so many refugees outside the country who has thrown under severe, background checks. They have been waiting in the pipeline for decades, and they are ready to come to this country, but suddenly, based on just quick decision, we close the doors to them, and we really play with their lives.
And do you all have clear understanding? Sometimes there's like a decision from the high court, and then it kind of causes a panic because it doesn't necessarily make clear exactly what happens next. Do you all have clear understanding as to what happens next for asylum seekers?
Well, it's not really clear because first I'm not sure about this administration capacity, how they can afford removing these people from the country, and also create so much anxiety into the communities because they have some relevance here, right? They have some of them, they have built their lives here, and it can impact families and cause so many other issues. And as it's not really clear what would be the next step for our community members and also for the advocate groups.
Okay, all right. Well, it's been a big day, and it sounds like a lot more still needs to be fleshed out. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, it's 3:16 right now, and momentarily we should be hearing the ding at the door with J.D. Rudd coming up here to give us his latest forecast. While we wait, though, let me just go over a couple of things that are trending on our website. A couple of other things. I told you the weather is our most trending topic on our website right now. There's also a Cook County man that just got 18 years in prison for a hate crime stabbing attack. This is a Chicago man sentenced now here after pleading guilty to attempted murder and a hate crime for attacking a fellow halfway house resident. Prosecutor said that the man, his name is Timothy Howes, stabbed and beat another 55-year-old victim multiple times, admitted that he targeted him because of his sexual orientation. It's Pride Month. The victim survived the attack, and House and will serve now his prison sentences concurrently. So there's much more information here about this particular incident. The man's last name is House. He will concurrently serve 18 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections for attempted first-degree murder, 3 more years for hate crime. Just very unfortunate situation, but at least we have new information about that. That's online if you want to get the details there. And we also have more information about the missing teen who died in Lake Michigan at a Northwest Indiana beach. The teen's been identified now. Remember, we were having a conversation in our 2 o'clock hour, if you were with us, about Fox Valley, the park district, doing a massive swim lesson coming up this weekend. I mean, any opportunity that we have to learn more about and be educated about water safety, especially this time of year, take it. If you have the opportunity, take it, because we see these situations way too often where people of all ages, but in this case a young person, just 13 years old, his name was Keegan Roberts, life cut way too short there in Michigan City at the Washington Park Beach. His body was recovered Wednesday morning. We told you about that near the Michigan City Pier, but there was a multi-day search here. In fact, I remember listening into some of the rescuers that talked about how much danger they were even in. So if you think about not just protecting yourself, but also protecting the rescuers who may have to come in and get you when things happen. The LaPorte County coroner ruling his death as an accidental drowning by asphyxiation, as you would expect there. But again, a multi-day search here as these firefighters and the divers were doing their best, but several of them even got injured in their ongoing efforts to try to locate this young man who was in the water. Well, a lot of people were holding out hope, obviously, for good reason, that maybe someone had seen something wrong or there was some type of miscommunication, but his body was found there. The Michigan City Fire Department just reminding people to pay attention to beach conditions, follow those warning signs, stay out of the water when conditions are dangerous for you and for the first responders as well, who risk their lives. Thank goodness, have signed up to risk their lives, but let's be mindful of them as well. Many of them, again, in this instance, suffered minor injuries from going in and trying to do their best. And unfortunately, even with their best, this young man did not survive that incident. I'll give you one more before we go to break here and hopefully get JD up here. And this has to do with the interstate and something that we've seen, a road rage incident, another road rage incident, a shooting that happened on a Northwest Indiana interstate that has now led to a driver's arrest here. And we're getting more information about that. We've posted that online as well for you here. This turned into a shooting, this road rage dispute on a ramp from Interstate 65 northbound to Interstate 80 eastbound. It ended when a driver allegedly fired a shot at another vehicle, shattering a window, causing minor injuries from broken glass. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we all want to get home to our families. So, if there are issues out on the road, someone cuts you off or something of that nature, it's not worth this type of drama that's now going to happen from here. So a suspect was arrested. He's 23 years old from Lake Village. His name is Gavin McCammon. He was arrested and booked into the Lake County Jail on a preliminary charge of criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. That's a level 5 felony, just so you know. Formal charges are still pending here, but the police are issuing a warning on this as well that I'm going to pass along. The state police say the incident is the second road rage shooting in Northwest Indiana on their interstates in the past 2 weeks, and they are urging motorists to avoid confrontations. It's just not worth it. Slow down and call 911 if you encounter an aggressive driver before it gets to shots being fired. Just call 911. You could save your life or someone else's. And again, just be mindful of, let them go. It may be upsetting. Let them go. We don't want it to result in shots being fired. So those are just a few of the things that are trending on our website right now. Again, that's fox32chicago.com. As I said, the weather is our biggest trending topic right now, as we have had quite the week. quite the last few weeks here. I think everyone's getting a little fatigued in terms of the warnings and the watches that keep popping up, but it's to save your life, or at the very least to try to get more people to safety. And for sure, we have had tornadoes in our area. Big trending topic has been how many tornadoes we have had in our area, that Illinois is leading the way in terms of tornadoes right now in the country, which is pretty mind-boggling every time we say it. We have had our friends from Fox Weather. If you were here with us in the 2 o'clock hour, our colleague from Fox Weather, Robert Ray, who travels throughout the country, talking about different weather events and phenomenons that are happening. He just so happened to be down the street. He's doing live shots just down the street, and we're like, come on over, talk to us about why you're here. And it was to talk about just how many tornadoes Illinois has had, and we're just at the kind of the beginning of severe weather season. And in fact, when he sat down with us in the 2 o'clock hour, he talked about the fact that the numbers had just changed within the last hour, that 1 to 2 o'clock hour. So when I woke up this morning, we were sitting at right around 200. When he sat down to talk to us, he said the numbers had just changed to 211. So to say it's been active over the last few months, and definitely the last few weeks, would certainly be an understatement this year. And it has a focus now on trying to better understand it and better prepare people, and again, to keep people safe. We have more information about where there is damage, even from last night's storms, the tally, the increasing tally of tornadoes, and again, this phenomenon that is happening right now on our website right now, and for sure many people are clicking on that. We also, if you go into the weather tab, many of our meteorologists also do like kind of podcast clips that they will air there, that they will post there, so that you can hear straight from them about their thoughts on what we're seeing, why we're seeing it, and what they expect to come with the weather changing over the next few days and few weeks. A lot of people are getting excited about the fact that, of course, next week we have July 4th on the horizon, and this week has been like that turbulent week. Robert Ray was saying a lot of the conversation that they've had is focused on the La Nina turning into an El Nino, and the turbulence that is possibly causing, and it being possibly why we're seeing this dust up, these tornadoes one after another in our area. So even if you have fatigue, still important to be weather aware, meaning we know what's going on, and also weather ready. In case things go down, you have a plan. So again, all of that information is on our website. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break before we get into our next discussion here on the show. Rudd is here with us, right on time, sir.
Yes.
So should we talk about today, or should we wind back to the fact that some people are cleaning up from yesterday today?
I know, and yesterday was one of those days. Recall, and I was talking to one of our producers about this. 2 days ago, we sat up here talking about Wednesday, and I was scratching my head going, they only have a level 1 risk out, but I'm seeing some signs that the storms might get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And then we did end up having some stronger storms, including one that had some rotation on it. That was the only twisting wind that we had, but we did have this big ball of straight line wind that kind of barreled over a few areas last night. The Weather Service is still out taking a look at that stuff. It's, how do I say it nicely? It's delicate because right now they have not officially classified what happened near Huntley as a tornado.
Okay.
But we have seen video. We saw on the radar returns, Mike Kaplan and I, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. But the Weather Service hasn't officially said that, so it's a likely tornado. It's not confirmed yet. And then aside from that, the straight line wind, which may have topped 75 miles per hour in some cases. I mean, it brought down trees. I haven't seen the pictures yet, but someone said a tree through a dentist office or something like that. Power lines down. I mean, some areas got hit hard. And again, try to be nice here. Straight line wind damage can oftentimes look more impressive than one of these low-end EF0 tornadoes. So a lot of times we as humans would like to have that little badge that says, I was in a tornado. You get a straight line wind event, it's worse than that, and in some cases that wind was only 70 to 80 miles per hour. So could you imagine if you were in an EF2 or an EF3 where those winds are 115, 120, 130 miles per hour? Stuff is incredible, to say the least.
Yeah. And how long of an event was it last night?
It was only a handful of hours, but the first few storms started coming in out of Wisconsin, if I recall, somewhere between 4:30 and 5. And then it was 5:30 that I saw that rotation on radar. And I reached out to the Weather Service and I said, is this any area of concern? And they said, we're watching it. And then Mike sends me a text. He goes, hey, look what's going on near Huntley. And I said, yeah, I see it too. And I just reached out and they said it's nothing. And he goes, because both of us have that little spidey sense. We do this long enough and you can read the leaves and you go, this looks like something. And then finally the warning came out about 10 or 15 minutes later for that rotational area. But then as that was ongoing, then we had the secondary area southeast of that kind of just blow up into a wall of wind. And that was at around 6 to about 6:45, as I know you know very well. And then that was all pushing through the greater Chicagoland area around 7 o'clock. It cleared our Indiana counties around 8. So that was roughly about 3 to 4.5 hours that we dealt with that yesterday.
Wow. And I mean, people are beleaguered.
Yes. To say the least. I mean, this has been, we're in a 10-round fight with Tyson at this point in time. We're just getting a left and a right and a hook and a jab and a stick, and it's like, make it stop. We have a quiet day today.
Good. We deserve it.
And decent temperatures, too.
Nice.
I mean, it is pretty nice, some would say. Lakefront areas have been held back. Benton Harbor 70, Michigan City 73. But hey, look at all the areas near 80 degrees.
Are these the last of my 70s?
No.
Okay.
So here, let me advance forward. If I've got the computer all geared up correctly, let me take you right into what's coming, but don't read too far ahead of me, okay?
You know we can't.
Don't read.
When you say it, we're hopping right over there.
Don't read too far ahead of me. We read left to right in this country, so let's start on the left and then we'll go right. So tomorrow, cloudy, some spotty rain showers, a high near 70. That's not bad, Anita. Saturday, 78, a little warmer, maybe a little humid, not terrible. And then we have the rest of the forecast. So Sunday is the coolest day of the following 4, if not 5. I mean, at least 4 days in a row of mid-90s. I'm working on a stat right now. We chatted about this yesterday, how long it's been since we've seen a run of 90s like that. And I'll give you a small spoiler. We've seen back-to-back days in the 90s about a year ago. But it has been quite some time since we've seen 4 in a row, 5 in a row, or even 6 in a row.
Wow.
And if some of the data I have seen is correct, we could have a 7-day streak of 90s that starts on Monday.
Well, listen, I prefer the 70s, but I'm well aware that I am in the minority when it comes to especially 4th of July weather. And so people want it to be, a lot of people, you know, a lot of people want it to be hot and, you know, you see, get out on the water and, you know, get out on the beach and just get out in the streets, you know. People want it to be dry for the 4th of July as well.
Temperatures may not be the big concern. It's is it going to be dry or not? And here's the trade-off, and we mentioned this yesterday. If we do get into this stretch of hot weather, what usually happens is we get this, we call it a heat dome or a heat bubble that develops. There's a whole bunch of geeky things in the atmosphere that go on, but the bottom line of it is it pushes all the better dynamics for storms to our north, so all we get is a prolonged period of hot and dry weather. Now that said, and again, I'm going to get a little bit geeky here, but imagine, if you will, like a circle, a dome, and us kind of being in the upper part of that circle. So the closer you get to the edge, what you usually have, and I think Mike Kaplan has talked about this too, it's called the Ring of Fire. Sometimes we have these storms called ridge riders. So it's a ridge in the jet stream. It causes this heat bubble, and you get storms that kind of go along that ridge, kind of riding along the upper arc. So if we're in the dome and we're up here and you have storms kind of riding along the arc, it's possible that we catch a storm or two. Also with heat and humidity, that's like a firework ready to go. Any kind of ignition, any kind of spark is going to send that kablooey. But if we have that big ridge in the atmosphere, it kind of suppresses all that. If that breaks down a little bit, something could happen there. So we have to be cautious, but my overall point here is if we do get into that big heat dome, it's just going to be hot and dry through the 4th of July.
See, you geek out over the weather. I geek out over music, and any other music lover out there knows he just dropped like 3 different song lyrics on us, but we're going to just stick with the weather. We're going to stick with the weather.
You know what I've been doing this TV thing for 22 years, but prior to this, I spent 4 years as a radio DJ. There's a reason I work some song lyrics into things. Anytime it's windy, I usually talk about Scorpions' Wind of Change. They sing about it, we live it. One
there
of those
you
kind
go.
Of things. I know we had some Johnny Cash Ring of Fire in
yes,
there.
Right.
This isn't lost on me. I just go past it.
Yeah.
Now, I have one more thing to show.
Okay, all right.
If you're not a fan of the heat, if we may.
Oh, come on.
Do you know what's exactly
Dude.
6 months from today?
Oh my gosh.
Is
you
your
know
shopping
what?
done yet?
Usually we welcome you to Studio 32 for Chicago Live.
So if I'm not here tomorrow, you know what happens?
This is not welcomed.
I'm just letting you know. We are halfway to Christmas.
Oh my goodness.
It's a glass half full, glass half empty. We're either 6 months removed from Christmas, or we're 6 months until it's here.
As of today. Thank you, JD.
Let me go back to the
not
70s, just show you. So, there, 90s. So a little something for everyone.
You know what? Here's the thing. We only get like 30 days of summer, so we don't want to think about Christmas yet.
I know, and I was just saying this to my wife a couple of days ago, where it's like we just got into the summer season.
Yeah.
And now we've had some of these rainy days, some of these cool days. Our days of summer are numbered.
They're numbered.
We're wasting a few of them. And then I told her, because her birthday was yesterday, which, by the way, happy belated birthday.
Happy belated.
I said, your birthday is just one day before the halfway point to Christmas.
You did not do that to your wife.
Why you gotta do that? That's who I am.
The numbers, folks, go too far sometimes. You go too far sometimes.
And I'm so thankful that she has stayed with me for all these years, despite all the bad news that I seem to bring.
Last week it was, Sunday, as of Sunday, the days will
hours.
start. Now it's, as of today, Christmas.
But there are some people who get really excited about Christmas.
That's true. Maybe some folks would take a Prime Day and start Christmas shopping.
In July is
yeah.
a thing,
There you go. There you go.
We're looking forward to it in June.
We're gonna get you downstairs for the
apparently
4 o'clock
my time is
news.
up.
I'm hearing rap in my ear, even though no one's saying it. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Do we?
Welcome back, everyone. 3:41 right now as we return. And, we have so many great minds here in the city of Chicago and throughout Chicagoland that there are folks over in Wisconsin peering over the state line saying, do you need a job? Because we could use you here. And we have Sadie Howe, the president and CEO for Envision Greater Fond du Lac, who is joining us now. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the talent attraction program you all have going on right now.
It started, Wisconsin's facing a bit of a population decline, and Fond du Lac County isn't any different. And Envision Greater Fond du Lac is the combined chamber and economic development organization. And so this is really part of our strategic plan, is how can we attract folks and grow our workforce. So we decided to partner with Make My Move to offer some cash incentives.
Cash incentives, and explain how this works.
Yeah, you can go to their website. It's makemymove.com. You would search Fond du Lac, and to move, you can move anywhere in Fond du Lac County, which includes Ripon, Waupun, Campbellsport, Eden. And there is a $5,500 cash payment to move. And then there's a $2,500 to $3,000 experiences package. So we want to make sure that when you move to Fond du Lac County, you're going to love it as much as we do. And we want to give you all of the authentic experiences. So things like walleye weekend, sturgeon spearing, going to a Friday night fish fry and enjoying maybe a brandy old fashioned sweet, and going to one of our dock spiders, baseball games, and really just making sure that it's an authentic experience of Fond du Lac, that this is somewhere that has a great quality of life where you can get to know your neighbors.
I think one of the things that's really interesting to me is that not only are you all looking for local, in addition to the local workforce talent, but even for remote workers.
Right. And we didn't want to say no to anybody. With the rise of remote work, a lot of people have their dream careers. They just don't have their dream home or their dream location. And you might work in remote for Silicon Valley, but you love to be outdoors and you love recreation and you like a little bit more of a small town feel. And so keep that job and still move to Fond du Lac County.
In kind of thinking through this and making this a thing, what were the conversations like?
Yeah, it started actually quite a few years ago. We did a worker talent attraction campaign, and it never quite took off. And we knew we still needed people. And we were one of the groups that talked to our state legislature and said, the state really needs to step up and be involved with talent attraction when some of our neighboring states are doing this, and we don't want to fall behind. So the state legislature put $5 million into this campaign. We applied, received $346,000. We're pledging $100,000. And then with our local businesses, this is a $500,000 talent attraction campaign that is funded through a grant from the state.
Mm-hmm. And so putting everyone's heads together, you come up with this idea. And I mean, are you putting feelers out throughout the region or specifically here to Chicagoland?
Well, we would love to welcome anybody from Chicago up here. You probably will need to change and put on a Green Bay Packers jersey in order to move up here.
I wasn't
but
this is
a nationwide. So that's where Make My Move comes in, is they bring the nationwide marketing and advertising experience, which is just not something that as a smaller organization we have the wherewithal or know-how to do. So they are advertising and marketing to folks all the way over on the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest. So we're an equal opportunity attractor.
Listen, Sadie, You read my mind and got to the sizzle before I did. I have a scribble right here, but I was like, wait, Green Bay Packers, like. You got
I mean,
to
you're
it
close.
before
You
I
have the
did.
yellow on already.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But I hear that the Bears may need a new home soon, so you all might need to put in a bid for them. What is the timeline on the overall picture? Like, when you all expect to really see some results from this effort?
Our goal is to attract 32 families from outside the state of Wisconsin in the next 2 years. And we have about 30 people in our pipeline already working the way through. There's a couple of requirements you have to meet. The job needs to be $55,000 and over. You have to go through a background check. And then you work with our program coordinator, Natalia, on everything else in the process. And within the next 2 years, moving those 32. And we actually do have one confirmed mover already, and she will be moving in October. And we just launched it about 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Okay. Well, I look forward to some conversations about updates along the way. Thank you so much for your time today, and best wishes on everything except the football season.
Fair. Thank you.
All right. Take care. It's about 3:48, everyone. Give us 2 minutes. We'll be back with our final conversation here on Chicago Live for the day. Welcome back, everyone. 3:50 right now. And before we turn you over to the 4 o'clock news, we have a super important conversation about one of the biggest talkers for our area over the last several weeks and months. And that's been mass gatherings of teens that have often turned destructive, dangerous, and in some instances, deadly. Now, we know we have a ton of talented youth in Chicagoland, bright, brilliant youth in Chicagoland, and we try to highlight them as many times as possible. But we also have to address what's going on from this standpoint as well. And this week, instead of the adults talking to each other about what to do with the youth, We're hearing from the youth themselves. They took over a hearing yesterday at City Hall, and I have Ariana Brandt, who is a recent high school graduate from the Austin community, a member of Communities United, who's joining me now to talk more about that hearing and where we go from here. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, Ariana, I think you might be muted right now. Okay, we may have lost her her Zoom link. We're going to try to get her back connected here. Really important that we hear from them. You know, just a much different world for them than it was for most of us, adults who are grappling with exactly what we're seeing, why we're seeing it, and how to change what we're seeing. How to give youth all of the opportunities that they need to make different decisions, and how to be supportive of those efforts going in a positive direction. So this week we have spoken with several different groups who are working, doing this work on a regular basis with youth. We talked to Southside Blooms, you know, and they are obviously, given the name, based on the South Side, but expanding their efforts to the West Side as well, giving youth job opportunities. Yesterday, we spoke to another organization that's doing great work as well. And, you know, we actually got to hear from the youth involved in that organization, and they talked about the fact that even a lot of times the events that we as adults say, like, okay, they don't have enough things to do, and then the adults are just talking to each other and planning up something for the youth, and it's like, they don't want to do that. So it's important that we hear from the youth themselves as to what would be interesting for them, what would give them greater opportunities, again, to make better decisions. Yes, it's incumbent upon us as adults not just to protect the community, but to protect these youth from themselves. But it's also important that we hear those, again, from a different generation who have a different outlook on things as to what could be done differently from the adults. For sure, what we have seen are some very troubling trends, some very troubling gatherings that have happened. And so it's not about not wanting the youth to feel welcome wherever they are in the city. It's about what can best support large gatherings of youth and how we can surround them with the resources to make sure that those gatherings remain safe, as opposed to what we have been seeing week in and week out on the weekends, or now that it's summer break, sometimes even during the week. And that takes a multi-pronged approach. It's a very nuanced type of conversation. We're not the only ones having it, if we're being frank, and everyone's looking at different things. So we've seen Washington, D.C. talk more about parental accountability. We spoke to our sister station in Detroit, and they talked about the fact that they're doing a few different things. One, they're opening up their centers, their youth centers, later into the night, because a lot of times what we are seeing is pretty late into the evening. And so opening up their youth centers later into the night, but then also approaching it from the parental aspect as well. If your child is found in one of these unsanctioned gatherings, the first offense is $250 and the second is $500. The parental accountability measure that was proposed by Alderman Lopez here didn't go through. So we're back at the drawing table as to what to do. Ariana is here with us now. Ariana, tell me your thoughts on the hearing yesterday. I think she's still muted. Okay, we may have to try to get her into the conversation tomorrow. For sure, this won't be the last day that we talk about what's going on here in our city and well beyond. But let's take a 2-minute break before we come back and wrap things up for the day. Welcome back, everyone. 3:58 right now, so it's unfortunate that we weren't able to hear from Ariana. We were hoping to before we got out of here today, but again, we will continue the conversation about how to better support and root on our youth to be their very best, and pull on everyone that we can to have that conversation so that we can all be a part of the solution. It was Root to Fruit that we spoke to yesterday, Southside Blooms that we spoke to before, and for sure our hats off to all of the people who are doing this work on a daily basis. We certainly hope that you will be back here with us tomorrow. We're always going live from 1 to 4 p.m. We're going to turn you over to the 4 p.m. now.